So, hello, Josias. Welcome to Megla Dental, and this is we're going to put this out on our to all our dentists and our community in Ireland and the UK and even in America as well. So, thanks a lot for joining me and for taking the time to come on our this interview to tell your story. So, Josias is based in Oxford. He's a coach. He's going to tell us about his story here and how he got involved in Bitcoin. So, tell us, Josias,
Uh,
tell me a little bit of
First off, Lauren,
backstory.
thank you for your time. Always happy to speak with other plebs in the community. My journey should have started many years ago, but like many, didn't see the opportunity, didn't quite understand what Bitcoin is and what it could offer. Um, so my journey started in 2020. I call it the year of the awakening. Early 2020, um, took voluntary redundancy from construction. As a project manager in the industry for 15 years. Was trying to find a way out. I'd say 3 or 4 years prior to that. Doing a bit of work in the health and wellness industry. So when 2020 came along, things opened up for me. So I decided to leave and to carve out a new career. With that, having that free time, I was able to look at other opportunities. So I started working with the local community. Um, it started with trying to help people with business opportunities, and then I changed that whole, then morphed into education for young people, getting them ready for future work in the future workspace, understanding that certain jobs that we have now won't be available in the future. And that kind of almost led me to Bitcoin. So around that time, I was looking at finance. Um, I did a presentation with the matrix, red pill or blue pill, but didn't quite see it. It's really funny when I look back at the actual presentation. But a few months later, a friend of mine in a WhatsApp group just said he wants to talk about crypto. So I reached out, said, what is it all about? Heard about it before, dismissed it. Um, he said to me, do your own research. So I did a month deep dive. And I can honestly say that's probably the most mind-blown month in my life. I would say 12 hours a day minimum. I was consuming content, YouTube videos, podcasts, reading. And the more knowledge I amassed, the more I read, the more I wanted to know. And it led me down a deep rabbit hole, we call it the Bitcoin space. And by the end of it, it was like Bitcoin is the answer. So the only thing I was kicking myself afterwards. I'm glad I did my own research first, but I did my own research and then bought into the project, into Bitcoin. Whereas I'm looking back, I thought I should have bought into Bitcoin first, then learn about it. But obviously, we do advise do your own research. In that month, that was possibly a waste of time because that's we had a bit of a price pump. But I'm glad that I did spend the time and I did my due diligence because I do feel like I needed to do that before I could then help educate, advise other people
Yeah,
on
and
what the space could offer.
yeah, it's a very interesting point there that you mentioned. It's something that I tell my dentists as well when they come on and they're working with Megla Dental. We've got an online course built, and I've explained to them, go in and just have a look at the videos first and do your research, because people need to do their research about Bitcoin and really understand it and take a couple of hours, at least 20 to 40 hours minimum to start going and doing a little bit. And then if it's for them, go in and start doing a couple of 100 hours of work. And then once you've done a couple of 100 hours of research and watching videos, you start to get it. And you'll realize very quickly that this is the future, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, the CEO, says nobody does 100 hours of research or education to Bitcoin and doesn't have any conviction. Yeah. I think it does take around that much time to, I would say, truly understand, but there's still things that I'm learning about, but to understand what it can mean. And it sounds really, really abstract, but what it can mean for society, civilization. It is a truly amazing technology. And when people talk about Satoshi, whether it's he, they, she, it. Who knows? I think right now it is best that we don't know, but I think if we appreciate what it is and then look after it and treasure it for what it is a key for humankind. And again, without sounding too, let's say, religious. I think people need to find their own journey and make of it what they will themselves. So it's okay, listen to other people, but you need to, if you would like to know about it, do your own research and have your own take on it, because there are so many, and it's not just a financial asset, it's a technology, it's a communications tool.
Definitely.
There's lots of aspects to it.
Yeah, and it's hope as well for the future. You know, and what I see it as being a business person, and being in business for so long, it's some type of an insurance as well, because compared to the money that we're using now, and people need to understand, go back and learn about money as well. Do a little bit of research about money, what money is, and to understand what it should be, but what they created it to be instead. It should be a store of value. But because they're printing so much money now, especially in the last 2 years, they're devaluing their currency. But most people just don't get that. They don't even see that yet.
No, and it literally becomes worth less. Well, it's worthless. But so I'm going to do a little shill here, because my rabbit hole really journey started with I would say Robert Breedlove, his 3-part series, Masters of Slavery and Money. And then I went on to the Sailor series, 10-part series. But the Robert Breedlove 3-part series, Masters of Slavery and Money, I'd recommend that to anyone who's interested. That was my first port of call for everyone. I realized it's not for everyone. It's very deep. But it talks about money through time, obviously slavery, and how inflation and devaluation of other assets have happened over time. But that does give you a really basic understanding of what money is. That money is time, its value is energy, it's your stored energy in a form that we choose as a society. So whether it's beads, stones, gold coins, or cash, we as a society decide what we value. And at the moment, understand that something that is scarce, that is immutable, which is Bitcoin, that's what this community is choosing right now. It's the strongest asset out there.
Yeah, and something as well that I do train my doctors in as well. Instead of thinking about one whole Bitcoin, they need to understand that one Bitcoin is broken up into 100 million Satoshis. And right now, the cost of one Satoshi is 0.0002 of 1 cent. So a lot of people look at Bitcoin and they think that, oh, I can't afford a Bitcoin at whether it's 20, 30, 40,000. They need to understand that they're buying Satoshis. And everybody in the UK, Ireland, can afford to buy a Satoshi at 0.0002 of a cent.
Unit bias is a thing, and as you said, people need to understand that you don't have to buy, but you can buy a part of Bitcoin. So we need to make sats the standard, just like we have pence and pounds or cents and dollars. We have sats of Bitcoin. So if you can accumulate sats, as little often as possible, in the future, we believe that they're going to be worth more. But you are storing your energy, your time, your value in an asset that is going to appreciate over time. It will be volatile. And again, quoting Michael Saylor, I'd rather have a volatile, appreciating asset than a stable, deflating asset.
Definitely. Great point. So how has your community around you in Oxford, and how is that being influenced by Bitcoin, and how are you getting the word out there with your community and your coaching?
So slowly but surely, Coach Carbon, you can see the logo there, I've put myself on the Bitcoin standard. So with everything that I was doing, the health, wealth, life coaching I was doing, put myself on the Bitcoin standard. So if, for example, I have a podcast, Carbon Life Pods, that is hosted on Spotify and Apple, but it's also now hosted on Fountain FM, which is built on top of the Lightning Network. So users can stream my podcast on the Lightning Network, value for value. They can receive that. I can receive value from them. Like they can send sats, they can communicate, so they can send sats along with a message. They can set a limit, say 5 sats a minute. So I am incentivized to create good content and value for them to carry on listening. If they stop listening, they stop paying. So it's a two-way transaction. So the listener is I believe that if they get value from our conversation, they will listen to the end. And again, there's no limit, there's no set price. They can set it at 1 sat for the whole episode. So people are choosing to reward value that they receive. Another example, so I launched a project called Bitcoin Ballers, which is an educational platform aimed for young people, but anyone can get involved. On Instagram, I had lots of online competitions based around football, so linking the principles of Bitcoin, talk about the proof of work, do your own research, which is training, fighting the FUD, self-belief, linking that with football skills and learning about how to be a better footballer, better person as well. Talk about your low time preference, putting off things that you would like. So yeah, anything that you think you might want now, putting it off today. Sorry, that's the word. Yeah. So you're not going to be a footballer overnight. You're going to have to practice. You might have to avoid some certain diets, high fat diets, or the can of Coke after a game. I don't say that's a no. Yeah. So all of that mixed in together with football, and then as prizes for certain skills and competitions, I was given prizes away as sats. So if people weren't aware of what Bitcoin was or is, that's another time for education. Okay, sats are again part of Bitcoin. You would receive them with a Lightning wallet. Okay, what's a Lightning wallet? You can get it from this exchange. But again, do your own research when you're ready and you understand it. Send me a Lightning invoice. That has led to me then hosting a football competition. Bitcoin Ballers Fest last December, and most recently I've hosted a meetup in Oxford called Oxbit, a chance for seasoned OGs, as we call them, or like newbies, so people into the space to come and learn about Bitcoin, ask questions. I've had people coming in talking about their new projects, so websites that are appearing that you can look back at history, look through the blockchain, you can put cards in the blockchain like messages. There's lots of things going on, and I'm learning a lot of people that come to these events, and hopefully I'm passed on valuable information that I've received. So Oxford right now, I wouldn't say it's a hotbed, but I've got quite a few things going on, and now I've learned about other people that are doing things. We have point of sale devices coming to Oxford soon, so look out for that. So I'm putting quite a bit of work into that, to trying to onboard local businesses to let them know, first of all, what the opportunity is, how they can benefit as a business, and also the fact that you don't really have to touch Bitcoin. You're just using the network, so using the Lightning network as a way to transmit funds, and they can receive in Great British pounds or euros as they choose. So yeah, there's the monetary side, and there's also the technology side, which I think once people are aware of and understand a little bit, then they think, oh right, so I can receive funds and instead of final settlement, have lower transaction fees than Visa or MasterCard. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It's amazing when people start really learning about it, because Bitcoin is so much more than just like a store of value or a transaction, a way to transact with goods and services. It's so much more, isn't it? It's like hope, it's insurance, it's freedom, so many different things out there, isn't it? But it's only when you really start learning in it and being engaged with like-minded people, you start learning about all that, don't you?
Yeah, and I think what I've also found is that I now have an even greater quest for knowledge. You mentioned about what Bitcoin can mean to people. It's then trying to find, okay, what else could it be used for? Who else can it help? Could it be used in this scenario? What if it was used in this way? What could that mean, good or bad? And then you're asking questions, and then you're trying to find out answers rather than just going along with what you're being told. So you're always questioning and then look for answers.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Okay. And then as well, why do you think more people should get into learning about this as well for themselves? Because we can see a lot of people that are involved in this industry, and even the crypto industry, they can see what's going to happen in the future with the way everything's going to. There's a massive recession coming. Now, they're not telling us all this in the news, and these so-called economists, smart people that are supposed to be running our countries, they're holding a lot back. They're only giving us a little bit. They're not giving us the full picture about what's really going to happen in the future with the whole.
Definitely. So yeah, as I said,
depression. As it could be.
Yeah. So 2020, as I said, for me, was the year of the awakening. So I noticed that things weren't being told, or the way I saw the world wasn't how it's being reported. And then I look, obviously learning about the monetary system, you think, like you said, there's a lot there holding back. And if you look at monetary debasement through history, every currency goes to zero. We just can't see it yet because we're in the midst of it. If you zoom out and look at it, the purchasing power of the dollar, the euro, the British pound over time, it's going to zero. So a change is coming. There is a solution. Understanding what the problem is first, and then when you see what Bitcoin is, then you understand that that's the solution. You will be probably drawn towards other coins which say they're the next Bitcoin, but then you go back to the problem of centralization, single point of failure. So for me, Bitcoin is the answer, it's the solution from what I understand of it. I will continue to do my education until I'm told otherwise, but from the work I've done, the research, looking at history and looking at the community and what's being built, you look at, say, like-minded people, what they are for, and it's not just about, well, it's not about fiat gains, it's about pushing society forward, but also making sure you yourself, the family and friends are safeguarded for what we believe you're going to come, whether it's in the next year, next 5 years, 10 years, it's going to happen. And they say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and we are in that rhyming stage at the moment. If you look back into Weimar back in the early 1900s, the same thing happens. People thinking they're getting rich on the stock market. Just everything is going up in price. You think, it's just your purchasing power. The money is being devalued.
Yeah,
so it's a hard switch to flip in the mind. But yeah, the more deeper you look into it, you won't think this can't be right. It's not real.
and when it flips in your mind and you get it, there's no going back, is there?
No.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. And then that being said, where do you think Bitcoin is going to be like in 10 years' time? It's still volatile at the moment. It's only 13 years old. You know, yeah. Where do you think?
No price predictions from myself, Lawrence. But I do believe we are pushing towards the leading reserve asset of the world because of the immutability of it, because of the issuance schedule, because of the security. The network's only getting stronger over time. I'm not sure the numbers, but there are lots of people, organizations joining every day, learning about it, understanding it. And we do say don't trust, verify, but a little bit of my trust is in little knowledge that I have. I look at other people in the space who are greater than our knowledge, who have invested way more money than I could ever dream of. To have that conviction, I believe they understand something similar to what I understand. So if we go down in the boat, we're all going down together. It's not the best way to think of it, but it's when you look and who you are aligning yourself with. I think I'm in pretty good company, and these are people that are, I won't say tried and tested, but have a history, have expertise in certain spaces when it comes to finance and technology. When other people are against Bitcoin and the viewpoints that they're coming out with, I can easily debunk those just from my little bit of research. So it leads me to believe either they're being disingenuous or they're not as smart as they say they are. And I won't name names in the space. There are some prominent people that are making a lot of noise about Bitcoin. I think are doing it because they get a lot of attention. So much so that I've had to mute certain people on social media because I think if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You're not coming up with valid points, valid excuses, valid attack points about why Bitcoin shouldn't be used. So what I actually doing is, for me, just attention seeking. So I'd rather not spend my valuable time listening or reading about those people.
And we've seen that recently, you know what I mean? Somebody even lost a bank somewhere. So people that know.
Yeah.
Is, you know, and then,
well, once you lose your own bank, surely you realise what the solution is. You must.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's no going back now. What he's going to do? Go up against the government and say, "I want my bank back." Nothing going to happen. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting what's going to happen in the future and how this technology, because it is a technology, and it's a savings technology. That's the way I see it. You know, that you can get self-custody of your own savings. You can take it off in exchange if you want to. You know, just take self-custody of it and protect yourself even more. And that's what people need to learn. And that's what we're showing our dentists, and they were showing other people around as well, you know, and everybody.
That's exactly what it is. By understanding something, I think it's a duty to share it. And we're not saying you have to do it, but here is an opportunity, an option. I believe that you should learn about it. And I think once you learn about it, you can understand it. If you learn about it and think, no, I don't believe it's not right, that's your own right to do that. You have the right to do that, sorry. But you have to take personal responsibility for that decision, as I will do. So you don't want to be in the future and say, I told you so. I would like to be in the future and people say, thank you for telling me. The reason why I do all that I do, I mentioned about I should have gotten a lot sooner. I had a site manager who was actually mining Bitcoin in the site office on a remote site back in 2018. I asked one question about mining, and himself and the labourer laughed and went, it's not actually mining, mate. I put a front up and thought, how dare you laugh at me? Didn't ask any more questions. So looking back, I shouldn't have been so proud. I should have asked further questions. But for me, I think I would have hoped he would have then given me some more information, laughed it off, so no, actually this is what it is. If he would have explained it how I hope I'm explaining it now to people, I believe I would have understood it a lot sooner. But yeah, I think we're both to blame. We'll take equal blame in that. But yeah, I don't want to be that person in the future where someone says, well, you didn't tell me about this. So that's why I'm open and honest about what I understand, how I understand it, or also trying to advise people on or direct people for sources of information.
No, it's a very, very good point that you made there. I think using the whole thing, the whole KISS methodology, keep it simple, stupid. That's what I say. I'll keep it stupid, simple. Some people say, that's the way I try to do. Just keep it simple, especially when you're just talking to people initially about it, and then if they want to learn a bit more about it, they can start going down and learning more themselves. Because there's so much information out there that they can. But look at it from reputable people, the likes of, say, as you mentioned yourself, Michael Saylor, and Jack Dorsey from Twitter. All these people are buying Elon Musk, Paul Tudor Jones, all these hedge fund managers as well that have done a complete 360 on their view on Bitcoin in the last 18 to 2 months to 2 years to 24 months. They've done a 360 on the whole thing that they thought. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And also, there aren't any gatekeepers. So you mentioned about information is widely available. The majority of information is free. You can just seek it out, and you can gain so much. Obviously, there are courses. Obviously, there's books you can buy, but the podcasts are there in podcast form and YouTube videos. It's there. People are talking, offering information for free.
Yeah.
So it's just obviously up to you to be incentivized to go and look for it.
And I think as well that people have this concept of learning things on social media or on YouTube. It's not reputable. But YouTube is an educational platform, and all these platforms like Spotify, the one that you're using for posting your podcast on, they're educational platforms. People need to understand that and stop listening to the fear and the FUD that's coming out from central banks and governments and all this, because it's fear. They don't want people learning.
No.
Definitely. So where do you see yourself in your journey now in the next couple of years with your Bitcoin journey and what you're doing?
Well, the plan is to obviously push Coach Carbon forward. Of course, the Bitcoin ballers. Hosted the competition. I've put some teams in local competitions. We won one. I had 2 junior teams get to the final. So yeah, it's just pushing it out there to different tournaments. Wearing the shirts everywhere. I've got the Bitcoin ballers shirt, but also it opens it up. So I've produced a few bits of artwork, which you can find on coachcarbon.live. And I've just exploring the space. Like in the last 2 years, I've been allowed. Bitcoin has allowed me to be creative. And being creative using Bitcoin as the base layer, it's been great. And I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the world. I've learned a lot about other people. And yeah, if I can push the message, if I can help educate and advise people throughout the world using the health, wealth, and life model, then yeah, I'll be forever grateful. So I'm having fun with it at the moment, and long may it continue. Meeting great people like yourself. finding we have things in common just by reaching out through social media. And I think the majority of people in the space who I've worked with have given up their time and energy, and it's just been like a reciprocal relationship. No one's asking for anything. It's just like, okay, I want to help you. Maybe you'll help me in the future. Maybe you'll connect with that person. Who knows? But it's just reaching out and connecting, and that's it. Network with people, and that's what Bitcoin is. It's a network. We make the network stronger by running our own nodes, by being part of the network, being true, what you call it, honest players in the space. And if you're not an honest player, you'll soon get found out.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so thanks for taking the time to talk to us and talk to our community. It was great to have you on. We're going to post this now into our YouTube channel, and we're going to send it to our community as well. And then, so if anybody wants to get in touch with you or want to learn more about yourself, have you got any websites that you want to send out there?
Yeah, the website is coachcarbon.life. Social media, you can find me at Coach Carbon. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you'd like to know more or have any ideas, would like to work together, just any questions, I'm open for all of that. So just hit me up, find me, and let's see what we can come up with.
Yeah, amazing. Great. Okay, so thanks for taking the time anyway, and we will talk soon. Okay.
Thank you, Lawrence. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.